Okay, you talking about blowing up the spot? Kenya? Ooh, Kenya, 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 Kenya. Mm, mm, mm. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 12, episode 13. And like I said, blowing up the spot. Kenya Moore, y'all know I'm not even a big Kenya Moore fan at all. I think sometimes Kenya just takes things too far. But listen, I gotta give props where props are due. When someone pisses you off and you come in and you shake the foundation, I just gotta say, yeah, you shook the foundation. And Kenya shook Tanya's foundation. You understand me? Let's just keep on watching. I'm gonna explain it all to you. First, though, we were over at Candy's house. Candy and Riley are actually talking, and months have actually gone by since the last time we actually, seen anything with Riley. This whole thing of now her and Kayla were both in New York City all summer, and they were living together and everything, and in this suite and all of this. And Candy asked Riley, "Well, did y'all hang out or anything?" And Riley, gave that old dumbass look. Oh, you know what? It ain't cute. It really isn't cute. I mean, what's really going on? Like, is there something really going on that we're not privy to, that we don't know about? Because I hate to actually feel this way, but Riley just is kind of seeming kind of bitchy and nasty. Like she's not even trying, or just doesn't have any interest in even having a relationship with Kayla. And why is that? Like, what's really going on? What's really going on? What is it about Kayla that we don't know? Because Todd pretty much avoids her. He avoids her. And then when they do, when they say they fall out and carry on, what is it about Kayla that is not being said? What's not being said? Because from just where we're looking, it looks like she's getting abused by the family. But there's got to be something more to it. There's got to be something more to it. What's really going on? I don't know. I have questions. It just doesn't look right. And I was so bothered by the way that Riley actually, it really gave her that old bougie, nose up in the air, mean girl thing going on. And I'm like, that ain't cute. And then Candy's just like, going with it. I'm like, I don't know. And I don't think that Candy like misuses Kayla. It's like it seems like Candy feels sorry for Kayla, but it don't seem like Candy chastises Riley. So it's like whatever Riley wants to do is fine. Candy can't chastise Todd, so whatever Todd does is fine. And I just see Candy in a position where she kind of feels bad for Kayla, and she probably sneaks and does things for Kayla. But something ain't right. Something ain't right with that little situation at all. And the little boy Ace is not treated that way. I don't know. And again, I'm probably thinking that way because of the fact that Riley spends so much time with Mama Joyce, and we know how Mama Joyce is. Mama Joyce is a whole movement. And you talk about shady, she is some kind of shady when she wants to be. So, listen, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I believe something's going on. Something's going on with that. Okay, let's move on. Portia and Dennis. Now, I thought they were fine. Like, he gave her the ring, gave her the new ring, and all of this kind of carried on. And I thought that everything was fine with them. Thought it was all hunky dory. Well, no. They go to the counselor, and they're having issues intimately. And that was really strange because they didn't have intimacy issues when they weren't even together. She was mad as hell at Dennis and still kept screwing Dennis. So now he's back in the house and everything, they're back working with everything. And she's saying that when they go into the bedroom and the light go out, then she's having a problem with intimacy and feeling some kind of way. Now I understand that emotion of the whole feeling some kind of way, but not now. See, that would have actually started for me from the door. When he first cheated, I would have been battling with that thing of like feeling some type of way. I can't see it now. So I'm like, okay, so now are we doing this for a storyline, y'all? Is that what's going on now? Is this a storyline? This whole intimacy thing? I'm not buying it. I call bullshit. Me personally, I call bullshit because Portia was having a hard time not busting it wide open for Dennis when they were still broken up. So I don't know. Could be me. Y'all leave it in the comments. We can kick that around back and forth a little bit and see what y'all think. And me personally, I call bullshit. Sorry. Okay, let's move on. So let's talk about this foundation shake that I was talking about. Oh my goodness, you all. Listen, Cynthia and Eva meet up. Then Tanya comes. Then Kenya comes. Before Kenya got there, they were talking and they were speaking about how, it's been quite a while since they came back home from the girls' trip and the whole thing with the wig gate, honey, and all of this. And they were talking about how pissed off Kenya was. And Cynthia needs to stay off the phone, child. She's always making these calls and trying to fix things. And I don't know that she'll always be fixing it, but she needs to stay off the phone, child, because you always end up in the middle of some shit. But anyway, so they, have really, Tanya has realized that she really pissed Kenya off. So she's there, being Tanya. She's so lighthearted. She has this really, really pretty red dress on, but she's like, we're just going to fix it and everything, and that's going to be fine. Kenya shows up. And she's saying hello to everybody and all of that. And then she sits down. She's in the process of sitting down. And she didn't speak to Tanya. She spoke to Eva. She spoke to Cynthia. They went back and forth. Oh, girl, you look so nice. All that, all fake stuff. And then Tanya said, well, you look extra pretty today, Kenya. Honey, that Kenya looked at her and she said, I like to look extra pretty when I'm going to read a bitch. Like she came in guns blazing. I was like, wow. Okay, Kenya. Kenya didn't come for resolution at all. Trust me. She didn't come for resolution. Kenya came to get you. Like she said, I like to look extra pretty when I come to read a bitch. I was like, oh my. Okay. So they start talking. She said, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Because Tanya was like, well, wait a minute. She's calling me names, carried on. Hey, they start talking. Kenya started going off. Tanya was trying to say, like, to intercede. And she's like, listen, you need to listen to what I'm saying and not cutting me off. You need to listen to what I'm saying, or I'm going to get up. If you're interrupting me, I'm going to get up and I'm going to leave. And she said, so you need to sit there and shut up and listen. I was like, baby, you could not talk to me like that. You could not sit and talk to me like that and it go like that. Girl, it wouldn't have worked. When she came in and called me a bitch, that would have been the whole end of all of that. We would have just started getting it because I'd told her exactly what I thought of her and her wig wearing ass. That would have been, it would have been on and popping. But, you know, Tanya said, well, I'm going to let you talk and then you'll let me talk, or I'm going to get up and I'm going to leave. Honey, and Kenya told her, and that probably would be best if you get up and leave. Then she started reading. And she told her, listen, I don't know how you make your money. Whether you know, get it from your little boyfriend or get it from your family or whatever you do, but I make my money with these two hands. And this, that, and the other. She goes on telling her about how the wig situation, you know, she's like, well, I had no idea that, you know, that you would get so bent out of shape about the fact that people were knowing that you were wearing a wig. I don't wear wigs. Now, this is where I was like, Kenya, now you, girl, you putting 20 on 10 and you doing way too much. And this all just sounds like some bullshit. You really just wanted to get at Tanya. You know, you just put the X on her back and you just wanted to come for her. Because this little wig situation, it ain't all that. And what you saying, basically, and Tanya's not catching it. See, because I'd have caught it and threw it back at her, is that you are old insecure lying ass bitch, is what I'd have gave her. Because she's sitting there saying, I don't wear wigs. She's like, you do wear wigs. You wore it. We all knew you wore it. You wore a wig. No, but I have a business. And her claim to fame is that she doesn't wear wigs, that, you know, she has a hair care business for about natural hair. But you running around in a wig. And she's like, and nobody would actually think, oh, you just wore it once, then they would be saying that I wore wigs. Well, that's your issue, Kenya. That's your issue that you got out there. You know, that I thought that was totally ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. If you're a person that claims natural hair care and you don't wear wigs, then bitch, you don't need to put no wigs on. Period. Ever. The way that she conveyed what she was saying, Kenya sound crazy. You don't want people to ever believe that you ever put wigs on at all. So you shouldn't put a wig on. If you're a true natural hair girl, be a true natural hair girl. And all you ever wear is your natural hair. And that is what Kenya tries to convey to us. And has been doing it for years and years and years. And she still does it. I seen a video, something a few weeks ago. She was on something and parting her hair. Kenya, we get it. We get it. But the fact is, you still do wear extensions sometimes. You do. You're no different than nobody else. Anybody can do anything they want. There's nothing wrong with it. But where the problem is that you're trying to bamboozle us and make us think that you never have pieces in, and you do. Period. Tanya wasn't getting it, though, because Tanya not, you know, she not versed and getting down, you know what I mean? So Tanya was, like, missing all her spots to be able to yank Kenya. So when Kenya got done with all that, of course she was hitting Tanya with all of these little things and making her feel like crap. And then she told her, I wasn't doing it, you know, to be, like, I wasn't trying to attack your brand or anything like that. I mean, come on, Kenya. And she basically was telling her, you're putting 20 on 10. But in the you know, long-winded Tanya way. She told her, no, see, what you were doing is you were being who you are. And you're a real cunt. I said, oh, my Lord. Eva was like, whoa, wait a minute. I was like, and Cynthia was like, oh, Kenya, child. Listen, Kenya was on it. She didn't care. She was like, y'all better shut on up, honey. I'm getting her. Then she takes and throws Cynthia under the bus. She starts reading Tanya about Paul. And about her saying that Paul doesn't mess around on her and all of this stuff. And, you know, if there's something to hide, you know, I was trying to help you out. You know, and they're talking about the cookie lady. They start talking about this cookie lady. I said, oh my God. So they're talking about the cookie lady. And Tanya's like, girl, that ain't, child, that don't move me. That ain't nothing. I don't believe it. It's bullshit. You know, whatever, this, that, and the other. Honey, Kenya was like, bitch, bye. And she's like, you know, Cynthia is the one, we met her together and all of that. Cynthia is the one that actually invited her to a function where she would be around this group of ladies. And the way she put it out there, it truly made it feel like Cynthia set Tanya up. Like Cynthia set Tanya up. Cynthia brought the cookie lady into the fold. And Cynthia's like, wait a minute. Oh, hell no. You're not going to do this to me. But Cynthia, guess what? In essence, you did. You did. You took your ass over there. And even though you said that the cookie lady approached you all with no knowledge of like trying to be on the show, which is bullcrap, that there was just, you know, the cameras were down and off whenever that happened. But then you took your ass back there and you invited her to another function and all of this other little stuff. I'm like, You again, Cynthia, you coming across as a messy bitch, but okay, whatever. The next thing you know, when you thought it couldn't get any worse, this is when I said, Kenya, and I had to give 10 points to Kenya Moore and the bumper off of a Mercedes. Baby, you look up at the door and in struts the goddamn cookie lady. I was done. Baby, when I tell you Tanya's face was cracked into a million little pieces, and it just went downhill from there. Eva was sitting over there, you know, she was steady eating. Child, Eva was about to choke. Cynthia was done. She didn't know what to do with herself because at this point, Kenya has thrown her under the bus yet again. And I'm sure she was feeling as though she's going to lose her friendship with Tanya, you know, or that it's a possibility at this point. The cookie lady come in, sits down, and her name is Kiana. And they get to talking, and honey, Kenya didn't take no time. She was like, straighten it out. Get it together, honey. Go on and talk to her about your problems, honey. Don't put your problem on me. She's here now. You talk it out, honey. What's up with you and her man, honey? Get y'all going. So I said, oh my goodness. So the cookie lady starts telling the story of basically how Paul approached her, told her that he was single, followed her to the bathroom, and they were talking, but it didn't go anywhere because they weren't compatible. They weren't compatible. She said, you know, somewhere in there, our conversation just kind of dropped out and we lost interest in each other. Honey, Tanya looked so stupid because she kept trying to downplay. Oh, well, she kept trying to cut her off. She kept trying to cut the girl off. And the girl was like, well, wait a minute, honey. Why are you getting upset with me? She was determined. Cookie lady's a messy bitch, too. She was determined to tell her story, honey. And she was determined to crack Tanya's face, period. Why are you getting so upset, honey? You're getting upset because I'm beautiful and your man was attracted to me. She says, listen, there's nothing anybody can tell me about my husband. She says, husband? No. And her and Kenya both was like, no, he's your fiance. He's not your husband. I said, oh, Tanya, girl, open mouth, insert foot. Just, ooh, it was a classic shutdown. I haven't seen anybody get read this fiercely on here in a very, very long time. Tanya Samuels, if you never show back up for another scene, I would understand it. She cracked Tanya's face into a million little pieces. You seen Tanya literally shrink into the seat. Then when they got done, Tanya's like, well, nothing happened. It was what it was. You know, she's like, y'all not going to sell that to me. Paul loves me, this, that, the other. And she just really, like, tried to deflect the whole thing. No, sweetie. Paul was out of order. He denounced you, and he was trying to hit on old girl. And the girl let you know that you were insecure and that she was beautiful, and for whatever reason now you have an attitude with her where she didn't do anything and it was your man that was at fault. And there was no way around it. So then everybody started getting the cookies, and they started acting just like Tanya wasn't even there no more. Well, Tanya was like, "Well, that's settled. I mean, it was what it was. It's not no problem. Ain't no hard feelings and stuff." Hey, they started carrying on, packing up their stuff, and everybody's leaving, and they literally act like Tanya wasn't even there anymore, except for Eva. And Eva's so shady. Eva gonna say, "Listen, the girl can make the hell out of a cookie. She said, that cookie I ate. Oh, girl, that cookie. Now, Miss Tanya, don't be bad, girl, but oh, girl, that cookie." I said, "You greedy ass." So I was like, And they ended up leaving. Like Cynthia left. Cynthia was pissed. She was pissed with Kenya. She was pissed at the whole situation. She hurried up and got her stuff and dashed. And literally, Cynthia had to come back because she had forgotten her cookies. She came back to get her cookies. She's like, "Okay, I'm out of here. I'm going to get." I was like, "Y'all some shady somethings, honey." Left on out of there and went on about their business. I said, "Wow, wow." And that's how that little scene ended. It was a whole mess. A mess. And Eva was stuck there with Tanya, but Eva was like, "Child, there wasn't no way that Tanya could be ready." She said, "I wasn't ready for that. And I've had a little taste of Kenya before." But she said, there was no way to be ready for her. She did. She literally bulldozed over Tanya. It was horrible. I was like, "Girl, if you never show up again, that'll be fine. We understand. We would definitely understand if you don't show your face on this anymore, because it had to take you forever to get all those pieces up off of that table where your face had cracked." Anyway, moving on. So next we see Kenya out dealing with Mark. Mark is setting up for some event, and she was trying to help. She was trying to get together a venue and all that. And he just was treating her like shit as usual, not listening to her, talking over her. You know the normal. The two of them, when they have scenes together, it's completely uncomfortable to watch. Completely uncomfortable to watch. And it was no different. It was all the same. Just she seemed like a third wheel, and it don't be nobody but the two of them. Just ridiculous, but they're normal. And then she's in her confessionals, and then listen, the producers in a confessional be letting Kenya have it. Now that's who be reading Kenya. But the producer, the woman said, "Do you think that he should treat you more like a wife and a lover than like a homeboy?" And Kenya, all she could do is laugh. I said, "Bitch just read you, Kenya. She's reading you." Like I was like, okay, and I noticed that's like a couple times that happened. I was like, "Child, that's the best." Just like you gave Tanya, girl, your face was cracked too. Not as bad, but cracked nonetheless. Anyway, so dig this. Good old Cynthia goes to visit Mike. She goes to Mike's house, and his daughter's there, Kayla. So we see Kayla. Kayla's there. And she goes to visit, and, it's like their little thing. And, of course, they're all over each other. Ciao. So the next thing he's all very, like, open and, all this. And Kayla was like, "Ooh, I'm out of here, child." Because, they was like, "Yeah, we going to get down, honey." Kayla's like, "I'm gone." And I really didn't pay too much attention to it right then. But she went on about her business. It came back up again later, though. That little Kayla situation. Just hold on to that. But I laughed so hard at Mike when Cynthia is sitting there trying to tell Mike about the whole Kenya-Tanya saga. Child, Mike was listening. And they was giving, so you could see the screen getting foggy. Like, he was like, "What in the hell?" And then he was like, "All of that is ridiculous. Give me some coochie." I was like, I don't even know how she got through that whole long story, that drawn out dissertation. And he was like, look, he didn't even look all that interested. Charlie told her, "If you don't come on here and give me some of that box, honey," I was cracking up. I said, "Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy." But that's proof positive. Cynthia kind of lives for the mess. So I'm getting to a point where, yes, it does seem Cynthia's she's always on the phone and always in the midst of something. And it's getting less and less that I be feeling sorry for Cynthia, where she be tied up in the mess. Because you busy. You're like a real busybody, Cynthia, and that's why you be caught up in the shit all the time. Moving on. Candy and Todd, these two, they're getting ready for the baby and all of that. Candy's talking about wanting to pursue her acting at this point. And Todd's like, I mean, you'll work it out like you always do. Then this conversation comes up about Mama Joyce and her opinion basically about Todd. And it seems things have gone backwards. Todd is like, he thinking they're in a good place, but Mama Joyce is back on that bull crap, and she ain't really feeling Todd again. And now she's talking this stuff about she's going to leave Riley, she wants to make Riley the beneficiary of all of her policies and things to make sure that Riley is taken care of, because she doesn't feel like Riley would be safe were there something to happen to Candy. So she's stirring up all of this mess. And Todd, he was trying to be cool. He's like, she think that I would do Riley wrong? Like, are you serious? Like, how did we get here? And he's totally clueless. Mama Joyce is a hot-ass mess. A hot-ass mess. So Candy's like, well, yeah, I mean, this is kind of what's going on. This, that, and the other. She literally does not trust Todd, and she's bringing it up, and she's pushing the narrative and making an issue. She wants paperwork done and paperwork drawn, and she basically is pushing Candy to do the same. She wants Candy to get some things in place to knock Todd down, knock some of the power off of Todd. But she over there counting their damn money again. That's what she's doing. And he said, I think she's probably really just thinking about herself. But does she really think that I would like do something to harm her or Riley? Like, I wouldn't do that. And you could tell Todd was trying to keep it together, but his feelings were hurt. His feelings were hurt. And he was like, you know what? Go ahead and do what you need to do, because I don't want to have to deal with your mother. And I think this might be the last time. I think he might really be done with Mama Joyce's ass this time. If it was me, I would. I'd be done. I'd be done with Mama Joyce. If I was Tanya, I would never speak to Kenya or Cynthia again. Or that cookie bitch. I would never speak to any of them again if I was Tanya. And Tanya, I mean, it was what it was. But how it was handled and all the pieces and the moving parts, I would never speak to none of them again if I was Tanya. But I would never show up on the show no more. Whatever I said, I'd be like, child, I ain't doing no more scenes, honey. That's it for me. I'll be done. Done. Sometimes you got to accept defeat. Accept that your face has been cracked and you have lost. And it's time to take your little toys that you got left and go home. Sometimes you have to accept defeat. You know? Or continue to be further drugged, honey. Whatever. It's a mess, but I wouldn't show up no more. Anyway, moving on. So lastly, we had this house party over at Mike's, and he invited all his friends. He doesn't have any male friends. There was like one guy, possibly two guys there. But all the rest were females, and they were all pretty. And that's where Cynthia was like, speaking about his lack of friends and how beautiful they all were. Then they started talking about his questionable past and how he basically was a womanizer in the past. Now, I thought it strange, even though she is a college student, she's young still. Kayla was sitting there, and you could tell she was getting upset because her face was twisted up. And when he was talking about how he kind of womanized some women in the past, and then they went and they kind of made a joke about, they made jokes about Cynthia blurping his bird, and that just took it over the edge. And I think he zoomed in on it at that point that Kayla was really bothered. And I'm sure that one of the women in the past that got done in by him was her mother, and I'm sure that had something to do with it. But she got a little upset. And he said, well, how about, Kayla, how about you going upstairs, babe? This, that, thing, and the other. And she kind of slumped her head down, and she laughed and went up the steps. And he told them, he ended up telling the friends. He's like, he said, how he wrote the book. He's wrote a book, a tell-all book about his past and all of this. And he doesn't have a lot of male friends because he didn't really deal with men like that. He deals with women, and it just is what it is. But he's not that guy, so there's nothing really to worry about. And the girls were telling Cynthia about how things had changed since she came in, that it's not the same at all. But Cynthia overthinks everything now. And she was like, well, maybe I need to read the book. And this said it. Cynthia, either you want to be with him or you don't. Don't screw up your situation with that bull crap now. I'm telling you. But yeah, he get some, and they were all very nice looking women, and they like, I want him. He was a hot mess. He was a dog. But they ended up going upstairs, and they went to talk to Kayla, and she was very upset. She's crying and everything. And at first, I thought she wasn't going to even, because he went into the room, and Cynthia said, I don't want to stay or be a part of everything. I just want to let her know that I'm here for her, or whatever. He's like, okay, he knocked on the door. She said, come on, come in. Then he said, is it okay if Cynthia comes? She hesitated, but then she said, okay. And then she started crying and stuff. And Cynthia felt really bad, and he felt real bad. He's like, I'm sorry, about there's some conversation you should have been privy to. And what can I do? She's like, nothing at all. And that's true. She just got to work through it. But yeah, she ended up been sitting around with them anyway. She not, and your children. She not one of them grown children. See, Cynthia's daughter would have been fine with that. Cynthia's daughter would have been fine and laughing and kee-heeing about her mother on her knees, blurping bird, honey. She would have been just a kee-keeing and cackling. But no, baby, Kayla ain't set up like that. So that was it. That's where that kind of wrapped up. But I think Mike and Cynthia will be fine. He says he's changed. I believe him. I believe him. I believe Mike's feelings are pure for Cynthia. I hope Cynthia doesn't screw it up, thinking too hard and acting Cynthia-ish and being messy. So we'll see. We will see. All right, you guys. I'll catch up with y'all later.